Well, greetings and welcome to another LGR thing about a convention. This time it is Midwest Gaming Classic in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, as it was in 2026. And the biggest reason I've been wanting to talk about this one is because it is so big. It's easily the largest general kind of retro gaming focused show that I've ever personally attended. One with the most sheer variety of interesting, odd things that you might run into in kind of a scattered kind of way. You sort of never know what's gonna be around every other corner. Like every 20 steps, it is gonna be something different. And it is such a fun time. And for disclosure, I was an invited guest to this show, so they paid for my hotel room and some of my travel, and also my brother, to come out to this thing and present, have a table, hang out, and also film the entire thing, put together this video. So they don't have any editorial say at what I'm gonna be saying here, but I was invited out, so I wanted to make that clear. But yeah, let's go straight into Midwest Gaming Classic in Milwaukee. Oh yeah, onto the land of beer and cheese and beer cheese, along with multiple levels of giant convention center halls that have been the home of Midwest Gaming Classic since 2018. And this year of 2026 marked a pretty big milestone for them, being the show's 25th anniversary overall. It's hard to believe looking at how it is now, but this behemoth of an event started back in 2001 as JagFest, a gathering of less than 100 fans of the Atari Jaguar. And I'm happy to note that the homebrew Jag scene still has a presence around a couple corners of the show to this day. But over the last quarter century, MGC has evolved into what its organizers call the largest independent all-encompassing gaming show that we know of. Also the largest all-encompassing gaming trade show in the Midwest, depending on where you look online. Either way, it is really dang big. The show is held in the largest convention center in Wisconsin, and last time I was there a few years ago, the square footage taken up was already a couple 100,000. But now they've surpassed 350,000 square feet across 3 levels and multiple halls of the Baird Center, boasting over 10,000 games on free play, 300 plus vendors selling every gaming doohickey imaginable, and attracting a crowd of over 40,000 attendees. It's easily the biggest retro gaming event that I've attended, for better and worse, but we'll get to that. As for getting to the show itself, it's not too bad if you're flying in like I did. MKE is a nice little airport, and the convention center and attached hotels are only about a 15-minute drive away. I've already posted a video over on LGR Blurbs vlogging all that stuff if you're curious, including much Milwaukee meandering and detours around town. I mean, you gotta see the Fonz. But yeah, here we're focused on the show, which begins on Friday evening, technically. MGC is a bit different in that the first day is really limited, with the vendor hall being closed and everybody just kinda hanging out till midnight, which they call a preview event. It's fun if you're mostly there to play the games themselves, but you can easily skip it if you don't want to pay for a full 3-day pass. Saturday is very much the main event, with Sunday being a shorter but still fully open day, and those 2 days have their own separate ticket price. Whenever you arrive, though, you're greeted by security checking bags and things at each entrance, one of which connects directly to 2 of the main hotels using a skywalk over West Wisconsin Avenue. A really nice convenience to have if you can book one of those before they inevitably sell out. But yeah, then it's your standard badge pickup process, and then you're off, and on to a rather bizarre mishmash of random booths, guests, gaming areas, side rooms, and slapdash event spaces scattered around with seemingly little planning. Don't get me wrong, it's fun to wander aimlessly. There's always something new around every corner, but wandering with purpose can be a bit cumbersome. The layout is more than a little disjointed compared to most other shows I've been to, and while there is physical signage and an online map, both left a lot to be desired in terms of providing any details on where to find something or someone specific, like me. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, from the perspective of an invited guest this year, things were a little rough. My table was placed in an incredibly loud and awkward spot in a weird side hallway that was right beside an all-day-long nightclub setup with endless live DJ mixes, far away from any other invited YouTubers and the guests upstairs. So it was both very loud and hard to hear people who came by, and also resulted in lulls of inactivity where like 30 minutes would pass without anyone coming by. It was really an unfortunate setup. If there was a bright side though, it was that I had a good reason to leave the nightclub and wander the rest of the floor, where I actually met far more people than at my table. So let's get our steps in and see what kind of Midwestern classics of gaming this place has to offer. And let's begin upstairs with the main gaming hall. From back to front, this huge space houses pinball machines, arcade games, retro consoles, vintage computing, a gaming museum of sorts, and a section for new indie games. With pinball being a particularly huge presence here, no surprise being in the Midwest, the historic heart of pinball manufacturing. You get all the newest pinball machines on display here each year from the likes of Stern, American Pinball, Jersey Jack, Spooky Pinball, and more. And in addition, there are dozens and dozens of classics all set up over the same general vicinity. So chances are, if you have a favorite, either modern or old school, then you can probably find a working example here somewhere. Not only that, but one of my favorite things they have here each year is this whole section of homebrew pinball. Yeah, completely custom homemade pinball machines with entirely personalized layouts and themes. It's absolutely awesome how well done these can be, with unique and experimental playfields and hand-drawn artwork and all that. It's just so cool to see and play these things. The same with arcade cabs. There are a number of custom jobs hanging out here for those as well. But for the most part, it's all about the classics. Arcade titles from the 1970s to the late 90s, into the 2000s and beyond, across all genres. I'm always finding something I've never played before at this show, like this year discovering the vehicular chaos that is Smashing Drive. It's like if Crazy Taxi did a whole bunch of blow, or more than it already did. And there are also arcades from the modern day, like a bunch of those massive Raw Thrills arcade things with giant light guns and even bigger screens. There are even claw games and other redemption games that I never saw nestled away somewhere. Though I definitely could not miss the big retro console and vintage computing museum area. These first few rows after the arcade are filled with consoles across all previous generations, from those officially released in the US, some from around the world, and even a prototype or two on occasion. And just beyond that, it moves on to a couple rows of home computers, largely from the late 70s and into the early 90s. While certainly not comparable to the massive selection you'll find at VCF Midwest in Chicago, it's a solid selection here, and you'll see a lot of the same systems and exhibitors from that show. And the next row very much continues the VCF vibes, again with a lot of familiar faces and vintage items strewn about, with particular standouts being the Atari-related rarities. There's some amazing stuff here, from Clax cigarettes to the original Go board used by Atari's founders, to this Nutting Associates computer quiz coin-op game, a 35mm film-based trivia title from 4 years before their Computer Space arcade game. I've never seen one of these before. And then finally, there's the indie game section, with several rows of independently developed experiences for everything from PC to console, mobile to VR, and so on. And there's some great stuff here, and it's always fun being able to talk to developers and hear their thinking behind each project in person instead of relying on stuff online. Then on the way out, they do have some vendors selling stuff at a few larger booths, like Atari with their new 2600 carts, Numbskull with their quarter arcades, and Tubbs with their totally not Funko rubber ducks in pop culture costumes. But while booths like these are scattered throughout, the vast majority are found in the next hall, which I believe is twice the size as when I last attended. This massive hall is packed with over 300 vendors vending their vendable wares, and I mean, what can I say? If you're after something gaming adjacent or alongside some tangentially geeky path, it's probably here in some form. Crap loads of retro games, consoles, CRTs, music and movies on various different formats, cosplay props, soaps and terrariums and lots of little handcrafted things, coasters, board games, card games, dice sets, minifigs, t-shirts, leather goods, wood, plus plenty of posters of questionable design and body-length pillowcases of potentially dubious taste. Not to mention about 47,000 3D printed dragons, pixel characters, fidget toys, signage, and other frivolous filament fodder found at absolutely every convention everywhere. And of course, because this show can't decide on a single theme in any one area, there are also more independent game booths scattered in here, as well as a selection of movie car reproductions, because why not? There's room, mostly, so why not toss in some Ghostbusters, Batman, Jurassic Park, Wayne's World, Blues Brothers, and Knight Rider and such? Oh, and a ton of random food vendors, can't forget those. Stick the sushi and the pizza right next to the Bluesmobile and the wrestling ring. Which, yeah, that's here too, featuring various ACW wrestlers doing their thing throughout the day, except when there's BMX things happening instead, with the Division BMX stunt team performing at multiple points over the weekend, right next to the people selling like bootleg lightsabers and waifu pillows and whatnot. Again, this is all in one giant open hall, so the sights, sounds, and smells are one of the most bonkers mashups I've experienced at a convention like this. The mixed up madness and theming only grows more unpredictable too, because once you step outside the two main halls, it's anyone's guess as to what you'll run into next. Each hallway, back corner, side room, and otherwise fillable space have some kind of display going on, and while you can look at the map to get a general idea of what's what, the actual items you'll find and people you'll meet within each space is kind of a mystery until you go and explore. Some of the side rooms feature entire arcade setups with a slew of unique cabinets not found anywhere else at the show. Others have a lot of the same exact ones you'll see elsewhere, or maybe a bit more pinball and less video arcade stuff. Some rooms are brightly lit, others are dark as crap. Many rooms are almost library-like in their quietness, others are blasting music at full volume day and night. A lot are all about playing games and hanging out. Others have a whole selection of vendors tossed in there, right alongside even more console gaming areas, live streamers, and local area network setups. That's right, the LAN parties. There are maybe half a dozen LAN setups here, and almost none of them are in the same rooms, so just explore till you find something you like. I saw Team Fortress, Halo 1 through 3, the original Quake, Steel Battalion with all the giant controllers, and of course 16-player Faceball 2000. Yeah, I was glad to see this. There is such a cool story behind it. Although, as with so many things at MGC, it wasn't where I expected, being tucked away near arcade auctions and random collectible vendors in the top floor gaming hall. Oh well, another excellent area I loved seeing is the modded console and hardware homebrew room, hidden away downstairs near a cosplay repair station in the panels area. The projects on display here are all amazing, with lots of full-sized game consoles shrunken down to portables. Seeing a non-emulated GameCube or a Wii remade into a handheld is absurd, and I loved this GBA built into a Tiger electronic game playing Doom, and this real Game Boy Color hardware built into a watch complete with tiny full functional cartridges. That's just insane. But yeah, if I went into all the nifty little things I saw here, this video would be over an hour long. Oh wait, I did that, and it was... My goal on this video is to be more concise, so my point is that MGC casts a wide net of nerddom, one large enough that even though things might get a little lost in the sauce, it's still worth spending the time to find the flavor you seek. It just keeps going. Like, you've got panels and presentations, live concerts, speed running, speed cubing, cosplay contests, high score competitions and gaming tournaments, workshops for creating things and learning new skills, and even an entire LARPing room. If your interests are broad enough, I imagine it's difficult deciding where to spend your time here. And then, to top it off, there's one more giant hall, and it's entirely devoted to tabletop. From Warhammer and D&D to classic card and board games to more involved collectible trading card games. Good old chess as well. It's a must-have, and they have it, including a section of computerized chess, which I appreciated. You even got Beyblade battles. Haven't seen those in a minute. And then there's a whole area for putting together jigsaw puzzles, which, heck yeah, puzzles. It's just a good time, you know? A sentiment that sums up the whole event. Midwest Gaming Classic is a really fun weekend for individual weirdos like me, for families with kids, and for groups of friends wandering around at potentially varying levels of inebriation. Something for everyone and all that jazz. However, I also feel that it's grown big and fast enough that certain details and considerations have fallen through the cracks. They truly need a more detailed online map, preferably one that's searchable by individual vendors and guests. It'd also be great if there was some noticeable rhyme or reason to some of the rooms, with more grouping of them by subject matter, or perhaps even rethinking the layout entirely. Like, arcade games are in a dozen separate rooms. Occasionally there's a theme going on, but more often than not, it feels like, we just happen to have these on hand and had some extra room. And why were these Atari folks in a half-empty room and not near the other Atari-related tables? Why are homebrew projects separated into several different areas on multiple floors? And why are invited guests split up into random hallways? This is the only big show I've been to where guests aren't located in an obvious meet and greet area. And also, preferably, don't put any guests in front of an obnoxiously loud dance club.
Back to the club.
Because, my main goals for having a table were so people could easily find me and chat, but I was located in a weird unlabeled spot with so much noise that both goals were harder to meet. Multiple people messaged me saying that they didn't know where I was, and when they asked show staff, they didn't know either. I posted info on my socials, but not everyone looks there. Most people naturally look at the MGC website. And while I was mentioned right at the top, nowhere did it say where I physically had a table, or anyone else for that matter. Presenting at panel rooms/signing. Okay, what does that mean? The panel room was for scheduled panels, and there's no one signing area. Guests were all scattered to the winds across multiple floors and hallways. So for folks trying to find specific guests this year, things weren't ideal. But as a casual attendee who really enjoys shows of this magnitude, it was a fantastic time I genuinely recommend. So here's hoping they iron out some of the wrinkles in the years to come, because a bit more organization would go a long way towards making Midwest Gaming Classic that much more of an amazing event. Anyway, navigation issues aside, I still very much recommend checking it out if you get the chance. And thanks again to the showrunners for doing all they can to make this a great show and inviting my brother and I out to experience it all and put this video together. I hope you enjoyed this, and if so, there's my much longer vlog too, so check that out if you're curious. And as always, thanks for watching.